But if you all remain closed up and you're doing holy, we don't know anything, all that, you're going to suffer in the area of intimacy.
If you carry those baggages into your marital home, then those baggages need to be dealt with.
Your religion brainwashed us and made us like, hey, this is bad. And now we cannot perform or we cannot function. What do you say to that?
This subject should be handled primarily at home.
The last time we were in Dubai, somebody told us the husband didn't even know where she worked. And we're like, what kind of relationship are we building out there? No wonder we are suffering a lot of issues and blaming it on the devil. One of the issues is that, hey, this person, especially somebody that's been exposed to intimacy before marriage, and they have done all the crazy stuff they've seen in pornographic movie, and now they are saved, they are born again, they are married, and it's like, I'm not satisfied at home. I am not happy because whatever it is I used to do when I was out there, I cannot ask my wife to do it, or I cannot ask my husband to do it, or if I tell them to do it, they're like, ugh. You know, so there's this pressure, especially from, you know, it's a woman that approached me and spoke to me and say, hey, yo, what do we say to the guy or to the woman? It's like, this Christian woman is like, I cannot do that. And then the other person is like, well, I'm not satisfied in the area of sex.
Well, when it comes to husband and wife relationship, you cannot force the other partner to do what they don't want to do. It has to be mutual, you know. And if, and let me just say this, you know, since we're talking about Christians here, the truth about it is that only Jesus Christ can fully satisfy a man or a woman.
In every aspect of life.
Yes.
In everything.
Know, I mean, holistically, you know, we get our ultimate joy and satisfaction from Christ. The Bible says, in the presence of the Lord, there is fullness of joy. And at his right hand, there are pleasures evermore. No one human being can fully satisfy the other human being. That's why as Christians, our ultimate satisfaction comes from Christ.
Jesus, yeah.
You know, so no one should pressure anybody. And once again, someone that is coming from the world and now wants to practice what he or she was practicing in the world in their marriage, that's an anomaly. That is not supposed to be. That person is a new creature, you know, a new creation. That person is a new person. And so in every aspect of that person's life, including his or her sexuality, his or her sexual life, that area ought to be transformed too. And when and if that area needs some touch up, you know, that person should seek counseling. You know, go see a trusted biblical Bible-based counselor that will counsel you concerning the area of intimacy in your marriage, so that that area will be righted. You know, sometimes people get saved and they carry the scars. You know, that's why it's very good, you know, if you are there and you are a young person, it's very good to get saved when you are young. It will save you a lot of scars and stress, and issues, you know. So do that. You know, my wife, myself, you know, I think I got saved around 22 or so. My wife, you know, much later in her life, you know. So there will be scars. So be saved, you know, when you're young. You know, the Lord will save you if you ask him. You know, but the bottom line is this, you know, many people get saved, but they still carry some baggages. And after you're saved, those baggages should be dropped, you know. But if you carry those baggages into your marital home, then those baggages need to be dealt with. You know, if not, the marriage will not be as God intended it.
That brings me to the fact that husband and wife need to talk.
Of course.
Yeah, once they get together, even during courtship, if you are in courtship, they should discuss their sexuality, what they have experienced, if they can handle it, what they've been through. They have to be open. They have, because there is a healing process that takes place when people are open, they are honest, done. If you are a woman that, you know, you've been around the world and now God have saved you and you are now in a relationship, either, you know, during that courtship or after marriage, you need to sit with your husband and discuss and open up. Don't try to do, oh, Virgin Mary, I don't know anything, because it will affect your sexuality, it will affect your intimacy. Anytime we try to hide something, either a secret, sometimes it's rape. Exactly. A lot of women were raped at a young age. Exactly. A lot of African women, because I'm not saying other women are not, but knowing where we came from, a lot of that happens, and women have to keep quiet, because when they talk, they are blamed. Exactly. They are you are the reason why you are raped. So a lot of them end up being quiet. Now, when they enter a relationship, maybe because of the scar or the emotional trauma, they tighten up. Exactly. They can't enjoy intimacy. They don't know what's wrong with them. Exactly. And you have to open up and expose hey, when I was young, I was raped. This what happened, that's what happened. And as you open up, as you and your husband take it to God in prayer, you will notice God will be healing. Exactly. Those areas. But if you all remain closed up and you're doing holy, we don't know anything, all that, you're going to suffer in the area of intimacy. Exactly. Until you open up. And also, a lot of people now blame, some say religion, some say Christianity. They blame religion for issue in the area of sexuality. They say that, oh, because there's so much negative, whenever you say sex or whenever anything around intimacy, it's like, oh, taboo. So now you are married and intimacy is a problem. And they're like, yeah, it's because the Christianity or religion brainwashed us and made us like, hey, this is bad. And now we cannot perform or we cannot function. What do you say to that?
Well, we need to ask ourselves the question that who created sex? And the answer is that is God, right? It was God who created it, and it's meant to be enjoyed, you know. So while we don't want people to have, while the Bible, why God condemns adultery, you know,
fornication,
sex outside of marriage, you know, the Bible says marriage is honorable in all. So God is the one who instituted marriage. God is the one who instituted sex, brought about sex, and it is meant to be enjoyed within the confines of a marriage relationship. So while we as Christians, we want people not to disobey God, let's make sure we don't treat it as a taboo subject, right? Either at home, like we said before, that's the first place. You know, the home should be the first school, you know, where people are taught about these things. Let's not just leave it up to the church or leave it up to the school system. It should be at home. So it should be taught at home. And of course, in the church also, you know, by the grace of God, we have spirit-filled teachers that will be able to talk about it in an age-appropriate context and make sure that by the grace of God, we all have a healthy view of sex so that by the time we get married, it's not a problem.
So do you think that the church, you know, and when I say the church, all of us are responsible because the church are made up of Christians. You know, we are responsible, you are responsible. Do you think the church need to find a way to present sex without shame? Because there seems to some shame associated with sex. Why even before we started this conversation, I was like, how do I present this subject? Is there a way to teach sex, present it, discuss it without the shame? What brought about the shame aspect?
Okay, once again, I would say that this thing should be taught at home. I don't know how to overemphasize it. Sometimes we put too much on the church, right? The church is established by Christ, you know, to expand the gospel message, right? And within the confines of the church, yes, we do teach, we instruct, But I believe, and I want to sincerely plead with the people, our parents, that this subject should be handled primarily at home.
But what if they ask you, how do we teach it? How do we present it without feeling shame? Because it's like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen some videos when some parents, they're about to give their child sex education and they're like, oh, how do I do it?
Yes, because it's a sensitive subject, right? This is something that is private between a man and a woman. So that's why it has to be age appropriate.
Okay.
So a parent, or like my wife keeps trying to say, like the church, you know, it has to be presented in an age appropriate manner.
So if you start like maybe at a certain level and you are slowly adding to it, so when you get to the main level, maybe it will not be so shameful. As in, you start, like you say, elementary level or the age appropriate, and as the child gets older, you add, and so when you get to the main sex education, it will not be so much of a shame because you started gradually. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of how to remove the shame. I don't know, maybe you can put it in the comment section, how to teach it, you know, just like you say, age appropriate. But is there other things we can do to remove the shame so we can teach our children early in life, and also the church can present it without the shame? And then by the time all these steps are taken and people finally enter their husband home or their wife's home, that whole shame about intimacy will not be, you know, on something level.
The issue of shame, what that shame does is it makes us not to talk about it. Okay, so we pretend it's not there, and we pretend we act like it's a taboo. It's something that is a taboo. It's something that shouldn't be talked about either in the home or in the church when it's appropriate. So we remove the shame by talking about it.
It's true.
So
that's true.
If it's not talked about, then it's all shrouded in mystery, and then that's where people begin to try to explore on their own and find out on their own. And unfortunately, at times they go to the wrong sources,
website.
You know, so we remove the shame by actually talking about it. We talk about it to our children. In the setting of the church, we make sure that when it's appropriate, we talk about it, you know, among
young adults,
youths, teenage ministries,
even the courtship
among the
people
older,
also,
the adults, you know, during counseling with intending couples, you know. So it's all about talking about it. You know, when you talk about something, you take away that shame,
the mystery,
you know?
and the shame, and all that. Okay, great. So as we round up on this whole issue of intimacy, sex, what type, what to do in the bedroom, all those kind of thing, the bottom line is, it's up to you. You have the responsibility, you and your husband, before you marry somebody, make sure you can open up to that person. Because why would you marry somebody that you're afraid that, oh, if I tell this person about myself, they'll run away, or, you know, at the right time, they'll run away. You have to marry someone that is open-minded, that's ready to hear you. You also have to be mature to hear your spouse or to hear your, you know, your other person. Nobody is perfect. I mean, the Bible says, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So some people were saved from sexual sin. Some people, zero background in sexual sin, but they were saved from something. And both of you have to be mature and be open and be ready to hear each other out, so you can heal in the various places that the devil may want to use to creep into your marriage, because the devil is still looking for opportunities to say, how do I hijack this marriage? How do I make this marriage less of what it should be? So if you create a marriage that both of you cannot have real conversation. You know, one time, one of the women I met, she said, oh, my husband don't even know what my real hair look like. I was like, what do you mean? She said, oh, she's been married for years, but she sleep in wig. She wake up in wig, everything wig. Why? Because I don't know, she's not open, she's not relaxed enough for her husband to see her real hair. And I'm not saying this in the subject of hair, I'm talking about somebody being real, being transparent. You have to know the person you are married to. I know, and the last time we were in Dubai, somebody told us the husband didn't even know where she worked. And we're like, what kind of relationship are we building out there? No wonder we are suffering a lot of issues and blaming it on, some issues is not from the devil, some issue is from us, because we refuse to be transparent, we refuse to be honest, we refuse to be straightforward with each other. We are hiding, and then the enemy will deal with us, you know. So you have to open up. You have to choose a man or a woman that is ready for truth, because the truth shall set you free. The truth set free. So if you have a sexual issue, you were molested, you were raped, you have emotional issue, and you now come into a marriage, you need to marry a man or a woman that is ready to hear these things, so that you will talk it out, pray together. He's praying for you, she's praying for you, and the Lord will heal, because you have opened up yourself. You can't be secrecy. There's just too much secret in marriage. Secrecy in marriage. Can you imagine? And we're not talking about strangers. We're talking about married people. No wonder there's so much problem. No problems. Go ahead. As we round up. You're done? Yeah. So please, open up in your marriages. Call your husband, call your wife, sit, talk about your past, talk about your history. When you finish talking, go to God in prayer. God bless you all.
God bless you.
Thank you so much for staying with us today. We'll see you. Bye-bye.